Imagine this. You're up by, 10 points at home, and there's just over 9 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah.
You're playing against a team that's, let's be honest, really struggling.
Yeah.
I think 4 wins all season.
11, yeah. Not great.
So you're thinking, okay, this is it. We close this out, but then, oh boy, it just goes completely sideways.
Sideways is putting it mildly.
You don't just lose, you end up losing by double digits.
Yeah.
And the other team, they go on this unbelievable 35-5 run in the fourth quarter.
35-5, it's staggering, really.
It sounds like a total nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, for one team, it's becoming a bit of a pattern, a really frustrating one.
A recurring nightmare, perhaps?
Exactly. Okay, before we really dig into this head scratcher, just a quick favor if you don't mind.
Sure.
If you find these deep dives we do valuable, could you hit that like button? And maybe subscribe if you haven't already.
And share it. Share it with someone who loves getting into the weeds like we do.
Yeah, definitely. Your support, it really helps us keep bringing you these kinds of insights. We genuinely appreciate it.
We do.
All right, so let's unpack this. Today, we're really diving deep into, a performance that has fans just baffled, utterly baffled. We've been looking at the Indiana Fever and this honestly almost impressive knack they have for building leads in the fourth quarter.
Only to watch them just vanish. Poof.
Right. It's not just about one bad game. This is more about, what goes fundamentally wrong when victory seems so close.
And how those moments maybe show us something deeper, some systemic stuff going on.
Exactly. Systemic issues.
And it's true. What's fascinating is how looking closely at one specific game, like that meltdown against the LA Sparks.
Yeah, that one.
It really does shine a light on a pattern, doesn't it? It's not just, they had an off night. No.
Not at all.
It's this recurring thing that makes you ask some pretty tough questions about, strategy, execution, the whole team dynamic.
It's like pulling one thread and seeing the whole thing start to unravel.
Precisely.
And what a game that was against the Sparks. Just to set the scene again, 10 points up, home court, 9 minutes left.
Against a 4-11 team come off a big loss. You'd think.
You'd think it's in the bag. But no. What happened next was just... It's hard to believe.
That 35-5 run.
I mean, 35 points to 5. Can you even picture that? It's like a boxer just suddenly forgetting how to block.
Mm-hmm. A total jaw-dropping collapse and ending in a double-digit loss at home.
Yeah. Just brutal.
And like you said, this isn't just a one-off. Our analysis shows this was actually the 4th game in a row they had a lead in the fourth quarter.
4th in a row. Wow.
Yep. And guess how many they won?
Oh, no. Let me guess. 1.
Just 1. And the weirdest part, that win was against Seattle, a really good team, likely playoff bound.
So they beat the good team.
But lost to Vegas, lost to Golden State, and then this implosion against the Sparks, all after having fourth quarter leads.
That makes no sense. It's consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Apparently it is for them. That's actually how the source material described it. It's this paradox, right? Flashes of being really good, then, oops.
Predictably falling apart when it counts. Created this cycle of hope, and then bam, disappointment.
Yeah, must be tough for the fans.
For sure. So when you see a pattern like this, so clear, so repetitive, you have to look beyond just, players messing up.
Right. The focus shifts.
It pulls the lens back to the bigger picture. Which brings up the question, coaching decisions, rotations, are they at the heart of this?
Wow.
Because the commentary we looked at really puts Coach Stephanie White under the microscope for, quote, repeated rotation mistakes.
Yeah, the coaching decisions are definitely a big piece of the puzzle here. I mean, take the whole Ary McDonald versus Sydney Colson thing.
Okay, what about that?
Well, McDonald comes off the bench, right? And she immediately gives them this offensive spark, 14 points, gets to the line 10 times, attacking the basket.
Bringing energy.
Exactly. Loads of energy. Meanwhile, Sydney Colson plays 17 minutes and gets 0 points, 2 turnovers.
0 points in 17 minutes. Yikes.
It's a really stark contrast. So the obvious question is, why isn't McDonald starting? Or at least getting way more consistent minutes when she's clearly making an impact?
That doesn't seem logical.
Right. And beyond just the rotations, there's the coach's demeanor. Described as just standing there, arms folded, like she's waiting for a bus.
Huh. Not exactly projecting active engagement.
Not really. And it suggests maybe a lack of in-game adjustments,
Right.
When things are clearly going wrong, you expect to see something. A change. A timeout strategy.
Some reaction. Instead of just watching the lead disappear.
Yeah. It points to maybe some rigidity or just not being able to react quickly enough when the tide turns, which obviously hurts.
Okay, so maybe some strategic issues higher up, but then there's the actual, on-court implosion itself.
Where?
What was happening play-by-play during that collapse?
Oh, it was ugly. The sources detailed this immediate meltdown, like first 3 minutes of the fourth, 3 turnovers, just bang, bang, bang.
Giving the ball away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, they couldn't even get good shots. When they did shoot, it was described as ill-advised, low-percentage threes, just chucking it up.
Instead of maybe working it inside.
Exactly. And there was no pace, no tempo, people just standing around, stagnant offense, which lets the sparks just climb back in bit by bit.
Ugh, that's painful to watch.
And there was this one specific sequence right after Natasha Howard made it 60-50. You think, okay, maybe they stabilize here.
Yeah.
Nope. Turnover again, then an offensive foul. It was like the team just, collectively forgot how to play.
Wow. Just a complete mental lapse under pressure.
Seems like it. A total breakdown in execution and situational awareness. It just vanished.
And often it's those small things, right? The fundamentals that end up costing you the game, like boxing out.
Absolutely. And the sources pointed to a really bad one in the final minute. Sophie Cunningham.
What happened?
Her attempt at a box out was described as just standing in front of her assignment, not actually sealing them off.
So not really boxing out at all.
Pretty much. And Azura Stevens just cuts right around her, gets the rebound, put back, and a foul. And that basically sealed the game right there.
Oh, man. That's a basic fundamental, something you drill in practice.
You'd think so. It points to maybe a lack of focus on those details. And another thing, strategically, they were playing way too small down the stretch.
Meaning fewer bigs on the floor.
Right. Which might be okay sometimes, but not when you desperately need stops and rebounds to close out a game.
Yeah, you need size then.
And they didn't have it. So they got killed on the glass, lost the rebound battle because they just weren't set up to win it when it mattered most.
That sounds like a strategic choice that backfired badly.
Mm-hmm. A deep strategic issue, not just one player's mistake.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. What about the key players? The stars who are supposed to step up in those clutch moments? Aaliyah Boston, for instance. Huge player for them.
Right.
How did she perform in this game, especially compared to what they need from her?
Yeah, that's a really critical point. Boston, she had that huge 31-point game against Seattle recently. Looked amazing.
Yeah, dominant.
In this game. Only 12 points. And she shot 4 for 13.
Oof. That's not great efficiency.
No. And the analysis is pretty blunt. If Caitlin Clark isn't there or isn't the main focus, Boston has to be the go-to. She needs to be taking 20 shots. Be aggressive.
4 for 13 just isn't going to get it done.
Exactly. It isn't going to cut it, as the source said. And her late-game shots were even called wild heaves, which suggests maybe frustration, lack of poise.
Or just no clear offensive plan.
Could be. But the bottom line was clear. If Boston doesn't dominate, the Fevers aren't winning games, especially when Clark's not in the lineup.
That puts a ton of pressure on her.
It does, and it highlights a major area where they need more consistently.
Okay, and that brings us to the elephant in the room, I guess, Caitlin Clark. We talked about her absence affecting Boston, but what does this analysis say about Clark's own situation and how it fits into these wider team problems?
Well, the sources were pretty direct about her health, said she's clearly not healthy dealing with a bad groin.
Right, I heard she was injured.
And the word used for the organization even considering playing her or rushing her back was reckless.
Reckless.
Yeah, strong word. The recommendation was basically sit her down, let her fully heal, don't risk her long-term health for maybe one win now.
That makes sense. You have to protect your star asset.
You'd hope so, but here's the really crucial part. The sources argued that even if Clark was healthy and playing, the team's deeper problems wouldn't just disappear.
Oh, so she's not the magic fix.
Apparently not. Her talent might cover up some cracks, sure,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't fix the fundamental issues.
Which brings us back to
coaching, rotations, fundamentals, late-game decision-making, the whole system. It's described as a breakdown, top to bottom.
So the issues run much deeper than just missing one player, even the star player.
That's the argument, yeah. It's systemic.
Okay, so we're talking about these really deep-rooted, pervasive problems. What does that mean for the big picture? Like, looking ahead to their next game or the season, is there any light at the end of the tunnel here?
Well, the end of that Sparks game was pretty telling. A total offensive stall, defense completely collapsing.
Yeah.
It makes you seriously wonder what's happening in practice, because that situational awareness, those fundamentals, they just weren't there under pressure.
So probably not things you fix overnight.
Unlikely. And looking ahead, the analysis suggests the next game against Dallas probably won't look much different unless something really drastically changes.
So expect more of the same.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the prediction. More of that consistently inconsistent pattern until those deeper systemic problems get addressed.
It's not just about talent then. It's the foundation.
Exactly. How the team operates, practices, performs under pressure. Until those cracks are fixed, these collapses are probably going to keep happening.
Wow. So, okay, we've really broken down this systematic collapse of the Fever from, coaching and rotations that raise eyebrows to those critical errors on the court and these bigger underlying issues that seem to plague the whole team.
Yeah.
It's fascinating in a way, but also incredibly frustrating, I imagine, if you're involved with or rooting for that team, seeing a lead just evaporate like that.
It tells you a lot about team dynamics and maybe structural weaknesses.
For sure.
And it really does raise a big question for us, maybe for you listening too. If a team's foundation is shaky in these core areas, coaching, rotations, basic execution, strategy, what does it mean when they keep being inconsistent like this, even with star players? What's the real measure of success then? And maybe more importantly, what do you think is the number one thing they need to fix first? When a team keeps breaking down like this, where do you even start? Is it the strategy, the player psychology, something else?
That's a tough one. What is the most critical element? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole deep dive. Yeah, definitely. Drop a comment below. Let us know what you think is really going on with the Fever. Or, share your own ideas about what it takes for any team to actually close out a game properly.
We want to hear it.
And hey, if you enjoyed this discussion, please hit that like button, subscribe if you want more deep dives like this one.
And share it with someone who'd find it interesting.
Yeah, please do. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.